A rich teenager walks into Judge Judy's courtroom thinking money talks. He's cocky, dismissive, and when a homeless veteran sits across from him, something snaps. He lashes out, disrespects him publicly. But Judge Judy sees something deeper and she's furious. She doesn't just punish him, she forces him to his knees, makes him face what he's done. The apology is raw, real, humiliating. His parents watch in shock from the gallery, their faces pale. Then the veteran stands up with trembling hands and tells his story. And everyone realizes this kid just destroyed something way bigger than himself. Because this homeless man, he's the reason that teenager even exists. What he reveals next will shatter this teenager's entire world in ways no one anticipated. And when Judge Judy hears the truth, even SHE is left speechless. But before we dive in, tell me where you're watching from, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The door swings open before anyone is ready for it. A teenage boy steps inside like the courtroom was built for him. And for a moment, even the air seems to step back. The camera follows his slow, self-satisfied stride, designer sneakers tapping against the polished floor with a rhythm that feels more like entitlement than footsteps. His chin tilts upward, rehearsed confidence dripping off him in waves. He does not look around to absorb the seriousness of the room. He scans it like a mall he already owns. Judge Judy watches him from her bench, eyes narrowed ever so slightly. Nothing dramatic, but the kind of shift the audience feels before the storm begins. Her gaze stays still, studying him the way a surgeon studies a problem before cutting into it. She notices everything: the disrespectful lean, the smirk he practices like a signature, the way he tosses his hair as if gravity owes him obedience. Then the door on the opposite side opens. A homeless veteran walks in quietly, his shoulders stiff, his step small, his presence almost apologetic. He clutches a folded jacket, thin, worn, carrying stories the boy has never had to hear. The teen gives him one sideways glance, then laughs. Not loudly, just enough. Enough for the veteran to hear. Enough for the gallery to shift uncomfortably. Enough for Judy to feel the sting of something deeper than teenage arrogance. The veteran sits, hands trembling as they rest on his lap. He does not look up. He does not have to. Every tremor, every inhale, every effort to hold dignity in a room where he has already been diminished, it all speaks louder than any outburst could. The teen leans back in his chair, spreading out like a king on a throne. He taps his fingers impatiently, glancing at his phone until the bailiff warns him. He rolls his eyes. He thinks rules are suggestions. He thinks consequences are for other people. Judy notices his parents in the gallery, dressed well, sitting upright, confused but not yet alarmed. They whisper to each other, puzzled by their son's attitude but unwilling to intervene. They do not realize how close they are to watching their world crack open. A soft rustle of paper shifts the air as Judy lifts the case file. Its weight feels wrong, heavier than typical. Something inside catches her attention, something that does not match the boy's cocky posture or careless grin. But the teen does not see her reaction. He sees only himself. He leans in toward the veteran, his lips curling into a cruel, careless smile. "You look like you belong out on the street," he whispers, loudly enough for the room to hear. Loudly enough for Judge Judy's jaw to tighten. Judy lowers the file slowly, eyes locked on him, and the room feels like it just stopped breathing. She heard every word. And he has no idea what that just cost him. The veteran finally lifts his eyes. They do not burn with anger, they sink with history. And the entire courtroom feels the shift. The camera settles on the veteran's face, lingering on the quiet lines carved by years of survival. He does not glare at the teen. He does not defend himself. He simply breathes, slowly and unevenly, as though every inhale must be earned. His jacket slides from his lap to the floor, but he does not bend to retrieve it. There is something heavier he is trying to hold. Judge Judy watches him with a different kind of scrutiny than she gave the boy, one rooted in respect, curiosity, and a growing sense of concern. Something about this man's stillness is louder than the teen's noise. She sees the way his hands tremble not from fear, but from restraint. A man who has seen battle rarely trembles from a brat's cruelty. "Sir," Judy says gently, "take your time." He nods, but nothing comes out. His throat tightens around words that refuse to betray him. The teen scoffs, as if the silence is a personal inconvenience. He yawns dramatically, leaning back in his chair again. "Can we just get this over with?" he mutters. That sentence earns him a sharp, slicing look from Judy, the kind of stare that has ended 1,000 arguments before they begin. But the boy doesn't recognize the warning. Entitlement blinds him. The camera cuts to his parents. The mother's fingers dig into her husband's arm. The father's jaw twitches, something protective and embarrassed stirring beneath the surface. Neither of them quite understands why their son is behaving like this. Neither of them realizes the deeper reason is sitting right across from him. Judy shifts her attention back to the veteran. "Whenever you are ready, sir. Your voice matters here." The veteran swallows hard, blinking rapidly. He lifts a hand to wipe at the corner of his eye, not a tear, but a reflex, as though he refuses to expose vulnerability in a place where he once expected dignity. When he finally speaks, his voice barely makes it past the first syllable. "I." But the sound collapses. The courtroom softens with him. Even the cameras seem to quiet. The teen rolls his eyes again, muttering under his breath, "Pathetic." Judy hears it, not with her ears, with her years, with her instinct, with her intolerance for cruelty disguised as youth. Her gavel does not strike yet, but her patience fractures. Just slightly. "Mr. Parker," she says, voice sharpened to a point, "you will not speak again unless spoken to. Understood?" The teen shrugs, careless, "Sure." Judy's eyes narrow, and she tilts her head, that subtle, unmistakable sign that the storm is coming. As the tension thickens, she glances at the veteran again and freezes. Because his trembling hands are not shaking from fear. They are shaking from recognition. Judge Judy leans forward, and the boy straightens without meaning to. His confidence flickers, just enough for the room to feel it. The courtroom holds its breath as Judy folds her hands, elbows resting lightly on the bench. She does not raise her voice. She does not need to. Her silence becomes the sharpest object in the room, slicing through the teen's smirk until only the shape of it remains. "Mr. Parker," she begins, tone cool enough to freeze arrogance midair, "since you seem eager, why do you not explain clearly what happened that day?" The teen flashes her the same grin he's been wearing like armor since he walked in. "Sure, it's pretty simple. I was just defending myself." The veteran's head jerks slightly, not in anger but in disbelief. Judy notices. "Defending yourself," she repeats, her eyebrow lifting into the kind of arc that has ended careers. "From him." The camera pans slowly to the veteran, whose posture remains small but dignified. His eyes stay lowered, but the courtroom can feel the weight of what he is not saying. The teen shrugs. "I mean, yeah, he got aggressive." "He got aggressive," Judy echoes, flipping open the file. The papers inside whisper like truth trying to stand up. "Because according to the report, you approached him." "Well, that's not how it happened," the boy fires back, louder now. Louder than confidence should be. Louder than truth can tolerate. Judy's eyes narrow. The gallery shifts uneasily. Even the parents straighten, sensing their son losing the invisible battle he started. "Then enlighten me," Judy says. "I enjoy a good story." The teen scoffs, mistaking the dry humor for an invitation to be clever. "Look, I don't know why this is such a big deal. He was in my way. I told him to move. He didn't, so." "So you pushed him," Judy finishes. He hesitates, only a second but enough. The camera zooms in as Judy closes the file with deliberate calm. "Mr. Parker, Do you have any awareness of how inappropriate your behavior is today? The rolling eyes, the commentary, the disrespect for a man who has not said one unkind thing to you. The boy stiffens, feeling the heat finally touch his skin. I'm just being honest. No, Judy replies softly. You're being loud. The gallery murmurs. The parents exchange a look, fear creeping into the father's eyes, mortification into the mother's. Meanwhile, the veteran sits motionless, shoulders curled forward like someone bracing for a story he has heard too many times. His silence builds tension stronger than any testimony. Judy notices the tremor in his hands again, slower now, but steady, the way old memories shake loose when forced into daylight. Mr. Parker, she says, voice tightening, your version of events does not match the report, the witnesses, or common decency. The teen opens his mouth to interrupt. Do not, Judy snaps, raising a finger, speak over me again. He freezes. Authority has finally met ego. And ego blinked first. Judy picks up the file again, turning one page, then stops. Something inside it makes her eyes widen just slightly. A detail the boy has no idea he's about to answer for. The moment the veteran speaks, the room tilts. His voice is thin, but its truth hits hard. And the teenager reacts like truth is poison. The veteran lifts his head slowly, the motion deliberate, as if peeling himself out of a memory. Why he does not want to revisit. His eyes meet Judy's first, seeking silent permission. She gives a single nod, small but steady. It anchors him. I did not provoke him, he begins, voice rough like gravel pushed through a narrow pipe. I was just there, sitting, resting. He walked up and... Liar, the teen snaps before the sentence can breathe. The gallery jolts. Judy's head snaps toward him, sharp as a whip crack, but the boy is no longer thinking. He is reacting, spiraling, clawing at control he never truly had. The veteran flinches at the interruption but continues anyway, gaze lowering again. He called me a waste. I did not. Because you are, the teen shouts, shooting up from his chair so fast the bailiff steps forward. The room explodes into murmurs. The mother gasps, pressing a trembling hand to her chest. The father rises halfway, shock flooding his face. The teen's body shakes, not with fear, but with a frustration born from entitlement colliding with exposure. Sit down. Judy's voice slices through the chaos, each word a warning flare. But the teen doesn't sit. He points at the veteran, jaw clenched, voice cracking under pressure he created himself. He looked at me like I was trash. He looked at me like I had no right to be there. I was defending myself. The veteran winces, not from the words but from recognition. Judy sees it. A deeper meaning. A memory surfacing. A connection the boy is clueless about. The bailiff places a firm hand on the teen's shoulder, pushing him back into his seat. The boy jerks away but ultimately collapses into the chair, breath racing. Your behavior, Judy says, leaning forward, voice low and dangerous, is unacceptable. You are seconds away from being removed from my courtroom, and I promise you, you do not want to see what happens after that. The air vibrates with the threat of consequences. But Judy doesn't stop there. She turns back to the veteran, softening only slightly. Please continue. The veteran swallows. He shoved me hard. I fell back onto the sidewalk. The teen laughs, not out of amusement but panic, a desperate sound. Because you were in the way, people like you. Enough! Judy's gavel slams, the echo loud enough to silence every heart in the room. She opens the file again, flipping to the page that caught her attention earlier. Her eyes skim a line, then return to the teen with a bewildered expression. Mr. Parker, she says slowly, why does your name appear twice in this man's military paperwork? The teen's mouth falls open. The veteran goes rigid. The parents freeze as if turned to stone. Judy lifts the page for the courtroom to see. Explain this, she demands. And suddenly, The boy isn't the only one trembling. The room is silent. Too silent. Like everyone is waiting for a confession no one is ready to hear. Judge Judy holds the page aloft, but her gaze stays fixed on the teen, not accusing, but analyzing. It is the look she gives when the facts begin rearranging themselves into a story she did not expect to uncover. The camera zooms in on the baffled confusion across the boy's face. He stares at the document as though the ink itself is lying. "My name," he scoffs weakly. "Twice, that must be a mistake." The veteran closes his eyes. A slow, pained exhale escapes him. It is not guilt. It is not fear. It is something heavier, the weight of a truth he has carried for too long. Judy shifts her attention to him. "Sir, why would this young man's name appear in your file?" His hands tremble harder now, fingers curling inward, knuckles whitening as if gripping memories that burn. He shakes his head, barely perceptible, as though fighting an internal battle about whether to speak. The teen, sensing vulnerability, tries to reclaim control. "See, he can't even explain it. He's making stuff up. This is ridiculous." But the words fall flat. No arrogance can compete with the gravity building in the veteran's silence. Judy's tone turns firm. "Mr. Parker, you will stop talking." The teen's mouth snaps shut, not from respect but from self-preservation. Even he can feel the shift in the air. It is no longer about the shove on the sidewalk. This is deeper, older, personal. The veteran finally opens his eyes. They glisten, not with tears, but with the exhaustion of carrying years of unsaid truth. "I never meant for this to come out this way," he whispers. Judy softens. "What does that mean?" He looks down at his hands, then forces the words out as if each one costs him something. "His name appears because I recorded it. I wrote it down years ago. I kept it because it mattered." The gallery murmurs. The mother's face drains of color. The father tightens his grip on the bench so hard his knuckles turn white. Judy leans forward. "Why would the name of a child you never met be in your military records?" The veteran's voice trembles. "I did not write it for the military. I wrote it so I would never forget." The teen frowns, confused. "Forget what?" "T." The veteran swallows. "Forget the promise I made." The mother's breath catches in her throat. The father looks like a man watching the past he buried claw its way back to life. The veteran shakes his head again. "I told myself I would never drag your family into this. I told myself it was not my place." Judy's tone sharpens. "But it is now, because this boy attacked you, because he does not understand the harm he caused or the debt he never knew existed." The room freezes. The veteran looks at the boy, really looks at him, and says, "He deserves to know, but it will break him." The teen sneers again, ready to fire back. But Judy raises one finger, and the entire room goes still. Arrogance meets consequence, and consequence finally wins. The teen crosses his arms, ready to dismiss the veteran's trembling confession as some melodramatic performance. But Judy's glare hits him before he can weaponize another word. It stops him cold, the kind of look that snatches breath before sound. The courtroom settles into a thick, uneasy quiet, the kind that holds everyone in place. "Mr. Parker," she warns, "sit still and keep your mouth closed." He does, reluctantly, because even he senses the ground beneath him shifting. Then Judy turns to the parents. "Mr. and Mrs. Parker," she says quietly, "stand." The mother rises first, her body stiff, her breath shaky. The father follows, slower, eyes glued to the veteran as if staring at a ghost he hoped never to meet again. Judy continues, her tone measured. "You two seem very aware that this situation is not what it appears, so I am going to ask you directly, what exactly is this man referring to?" The mother swallows hard. Her hands tremble as she grips the edge of the bench. "Judge, please," she whispers, "not like this." Her plea is small, but it ripples across the room. The teen's face shifts, confusion first, then worry. For the first time, his parents are not protecting him. For the first time, they seem afraid. The father exhales slowly through his nose. His posture collapses, shoulders sinking under the weight of a truth he clearly never intended to share. "We should have told him," he mutters, voice unsteady. "Told me what?" The teen snaps before Judy silences him again with a hard stare. The veteran wipes a hand across his face, fighting emotion. He tries to speak, fails, tries again. "I did not want to be the one to say it. I gave them years to do it themselves." The mother breaks then, not loudly, not dramatically. Her face tightens, her eyes fill, her lips tremble. Her silence is messier than a scream. The teen's confidence begins to falter. He leans forward, voice cracking. "Mom, Dad, what's going on?" Judy does not soften. "They know something you do not. Something that explains why your behavior today is not just embarrassing, it is heartbreaking." The father squeezes his wife's hand. For a moment, he cannot look at his son at all. "I never wanted you to find out this way," he whispers. The teen stares at him, panic rising like a tide. "Find out what?" The veteran bows his head. The weight of the truth trembles through him. Judy turns back to the parents. "One of you needs to speak," she orders quietly. And the father steps forward, pale, shaking, ready to unravel 18 years of silence. "If you were sitting in that courtroom, would you speak up now? Or keep the truth buried a little longer?" The father steps forward, but his voice does not. It sits in his throat like something sharp. And when he finally speaks, the past begins to bleed. The father's shoulders tremble as he faces the courtroom. He tries to steady himself, but truth has a way of shaking a man long before he lets it out. His eyes flick to the veteran, not hostile, not angry, but full of something closer to regret or debt. "I served with him," the father begins, voice small, stripped of all the confidence his son mimicked. "Years ago, long before you were born." His words fall flat, mechanical, like he is reciting a confession he rehearsed too many times in nightmares. The teen frowns, brow knitting. "Okay, so what? Why does that matter?" "It matters," Judy interrupts, "because your father looks like a man who has not slept peacefully in a very long time." The gallery shifts. Even the cameras seem to lean closer. The father continues, "We were in the same unit, same deployment. He saved my life more than once." His throat tightens. "But something happened, something I never wanted to explain to you." The veteran looks down. His silence now is not avoidance, it is grief. The teen stares between them, confusion cracking into fear. "Dad, what happened? What aren't you saying?" The father wipes his palms on his slacks as though trying to rid himself of memories still clinging to his skin. "When I came home, your mother was pregnant, and she was struggling, physically, emotionally. I wasn't there for her." His voice fractures. "He was." The mother's tears spill over. She covers her mouth with both hands, shaking her head as if trying to stop a truth already moving too fast to stop. Judy's eyes sharpen. She recognizes the shape of the confession forming. "Your father," the veteran murmurs, cutting through the tension, "was not the only one who suffered over there. His pain followed him home. And your mother, she was alone with it." The teen's stomach drops. "What are you talking about? Why are you talking about my mom?" The father steps closer to his son. "She needed help, son, real help, and I was not strong enough to give it to her." He stepped in. He made sure she survived things she would never admit. The veteran shakes his head. "I did what anyone would do." "No," the father replies, voice trembling. "You did what I should have done." The teen's world tilts. The veteran is no longer just a stranger he mocked. He is a shadow from his family's past, one they never dared turn around and face. Judy sees the emotional unraveling, the delicate crack forming in generations of silence. "Mr. Parker," she says calmly, "there is more. I can tell." The father hesitates, then nods. Yes, there is more. The room tightens. Every breath feels borrowed. Judy turns slowly toward the veteran. Tell him, she says. Tell him what you told me before trial. The veteran lifts his head. And in that single motion, every lie the family ever told starts to crumble. The truth is finally coming for all of them. The veteran's hands tremble as he grips the edge of the podium, not with fear, but with the weight of 18 years pressing against his ribcage, demanding release. His breath stutters once, then steadies, as if he has decided that this time, the truth deserves to breathe. I stepped in because your father could not, he begins slowly. But that is not the part that matters most. The teen swallows hard. His earlier confidence evaporates, leaving only confusion and a rising panic. What does that mean? What did you do? The veteran looks not at him, but at the mother. And she breaks. A small, choked sob escapes her. The father reaches for her hand, but she pulls away, overwhelmed by the truth she kept buried so long it grew teeth. Judy sees it, the emotional quake, the moment before collapse. Mrs. Parker, she asks gently, what is he referring to? The mother shakes her head, tears splashing onto the polished floor. He did not just save my husband overseas. He saved me here. He saved us both. The father closes his eyes, the guilt etched across his face like a scar. I was spiraling, he admits hoarsely. The nightmares, the panic, I could not function. She was pregnant, alone, and his voice cracks. I was not the man she needed. The teen sits frozen, jaw slack, heartbeat pounding through the silence like a drum. The veteran continues, voice steadying as if he owes the boy clarity. I stayed with your family. I helped your mother through her pregnancy when she was at her weakest. I made sure she ate, slept, stayed safe. I drove her to appointments. I carried her through the moments she thought she might lose you. The teen's face drains of color. Because the man he mocked, the man he shoved, is the reason he exists at all. Judy leans back, stunned despite decades of courtroom revelations. The cameras zoom in on her expression, controlled but shaken. You are telling this court, she says quietly, that you helped ensure this young man was born healthy, that without you he might not be here. The veteran nods once. His father lived because of me. His mother survived because of me. And his voice quivers. He came into this world because I refused to leave her alone. The gallery erupts, gasps, whispers, disbelief crackling through the air like electricity. The teen grips the table, knuckles whitening. His entire foundation, his identity, his arrogance, his worldview fractures in real time. His voice trembles as he forces out, so, you're saying I'm alive because of you. The veteran meets his eyes for the first time. Yes. And there is one more thing your parents never told you, he adds quietly. The room freezes. Even Judy does not breathe. Because the shatter is only beginning. The mother's sob hasn't even faded when the veteran speaks again. His voice is quiet, too quiet. Quiet enough to terrify everyone listening. The courtroom feels smaller now, as if the walls have closed in to witness the unraveling of a family. The teenager sits rigid, hands flat against the table, eyes locked on the veteran as if seeing him for the first time in his life. Gone is the smirk, the arrogance, the practiced indifference. In its place is something raw, the crushing fear that everything he believed about his world is a lie. Judge Judy leans forward slowly. Her voice drops into a tone she rarely uses, steady, cautious, almost gentle. What else do they need to know, sir? The veteran hesitates, breathing unevenly. His hands tremble again, but this time. The tremor is not fear. It is the reluctant release of a truth that has calcified in his chest for nearly 2 decades. He glances at the parents, seeking permission. The father looks away. The mother silently begs with her eyes, but the veteran shakes his head. They should have told him, he says softly. He deserved to grow up with the truth. The teen's voice cracks. Told me what truth, what is going on? The father steps closer to his son as if proximity might soften the blow. It won't. His voice breaks as he tries to explain. We couldn't. We weren't ready. And when we finally thought we were, it felt too late to bring it up. Judy's brow furrows. Bring what up? The mother sinks into her seat, sobbing quietly. The father wipes his face with the back of his hand. The veteran stands straighter, summoning a painful courage. That day, the veteran says, the day your father returned from deployment, he wasn't just broken, he was gone. When I found him, he wasn't responding to anyone, not even her. The teen blinks hard. The father's shoulders collapse under the memory. The veteran continues, voice low and steady. Your mother was pregnant, 8 months. She was terrified. She thought she was losing the baby from the stress and she did not have anyone else. So I stayed. I promised her I would not leave until both of you were safe. The teen nods slowly, trying to make the pieces fit. I get that. You helped them. But why is my name in your military file? The veteran's breath trembles. Because, he says, your mother asked me to write it down. The room goes silent again, heavy, breathless. Judy's eyes narrow. Why would she ask that? The mother sobs harder, hands pressed to her mouth. The father reaches for her, but she turns away. The veteran looks at the boy, pain softening his voice. She was afraid your father wouldn't make it, and she wanted someone, anyone, to know the name of the child she was fighting to bring into this world. The teen's face crumples. You knew my name, before I was even born. The veteran nods. Yes. And that is not the only reason, he adds, voice breaking. There's something else your parents never told you. Something about the day you were born. The envelope slides from the veteran's hand. It lands softly on the table, too softly for the impact it carries. And the boy's breath stutters before he even knows why. The veteran's fingers hesitate above the worn envelope, as if afraid it will burn him one last time. When he finally releases it, the courtroom seems to tilt. Even Judge Judy sits up straighter, sensing the emotional gravity buried in its creases. The teen stares at the envelope like it is a live grenade. What is that?" he whispers. The veteran does not answer right away. Instead, he looks at the boy's parents. His gaze is not accusing, it is tired. Tired of carrying a secret that was never meant to be his alone. The father wipes his face. The mother shakes her head, panic rising like a tide. "Please," she whispers to the veteran, "do not open that." But Judy intervenes, voice calm but impenetrable. If it is relevant to this case, and to this young man's understanding of his actions, it stays. The father closes his eyes. The mother folds over herself, elbows on her knees, trembling uncontrollably. The teen swallows hard, his voice cracking. "Why would my name be on something you kept for 18 years? Why would you have anything that has to do with me before I was even born?" The veteran pulls in a deep breath, the kind a person takes before diving underwater. "Because," he says quietly, "your parents asked me to be there for all of it." The teen blinks rapidly, struggling to hold onto the certainty he once wore like armor. For all of what? The father steps closer. "When you were born, son, I was not well. I was still trapped in the things I saw, the things I did. I could barely hold myself together, let alone help your mother." The room tightens. The teen's face begins to crumble around the edges. The veteran continues, voice gentle. "Your mother went into labor early. She panicked. Your father was unreachable. She called me." His eyes soften with the memory. "I was the one who drove her to the hospital. I stayed with her until your father arrived." The mother sobs, burying her face in her hands. The father finally breaks, tears slipping down his cheeks. "You were there?" the teen asks, barely breathing. During my birth." The veteran nods. "I held you first," he admits softly. "Not out of choice, out of necessity. You were struggling. The nurses handed you to me while they helped your mother. I promised both of them, that I would stay until they were safe. The teen's entire world shatters in that moment. He grips the table as if afraid he might fall apart physically, too. I attacked the man who held me before my own father did. His voice spirals into a broken whisper. Judy watches him closely. Why? Not with judgment, but with the gravity of someone witnessing a boy's identity collapse in real time. The veteran nods once painfully. And then he adds, but that is not the part that will hurt the most. The veteran steadies himself, one hand gripping the podium. Judy leans in, and the boy's world braces for impact. The courtroom is so quiet it feels like sound itself is holding its breath. The teenager sits trembling, eyes red, chest tight, desperate for someone, anyone, to tell him the nightmare is over. But the veteran's gaze says the opposite. It says the hardest truth is still waiting to be spoken. I held you first, the veteran repeats gently, but that is not what matters most. The boy wipes his face with his sleeve, a childlike gesture that breaks his parents' hearts. Then what? He whispers. What could be worse than knowing I hurt the man who protected my family? The veteran looks at the mother. She nods, though her hands shake violently. The father's eyes glisten with shame, guilt, and a helplessness that feels decades old. Judy speaks softly, afraid to disturb the fragile air. Sir, the court needs to understand. What truth have you been carrying all these years? The veteran swallows hard. The truth, he murmurs, is why I never fought back, why I never blamed him, why I never asked your family for anything. He turns to the teen. Because you were never just any child to me. The boy frowns, confusion returning, until he sees the way his mother's face collapses, the way the father's hands curl into fists, not in anger but in devastation. What does that mean? The boy whispers. The veteran exhales, slow, steady, heartbroken. Your mother, when she feared she might lose you, she asked me to stay close, to protect you, to be part of your life if anything happened to your father. She told me you were her miracle, and she asked me, begged me to write your name down, to remember you, to pray for you, to watch over you in my own way. The boy sways in his seat, breath hitching. Judy watches him carefully. But the veteran isn't finished. Your father, he wasn't ready to be a dad. Not then. He was broken, lost, afraid he would fail you. The veteran's voice softens. So he asked me to be ready if he could not. The boy's eyes widen, panic blooming like fire in his chest. What are you saying? The veteran's own eyes fill, not with pity, but with a grief that has aged years within him. I am saying, he whispers, that I was meant to be more than a stranger to you. The mother breaks down completely. The father bows his head, tears hitting the floor. Judy's voice trembles for the first time. Sir, are you telling this court you believed you might become this boy's guardian? The veteran shakes his head slowly. No, not guardian. He turns to the boy fully, letting the truth settle between them. Your father asked me to be ready to raise you, to step in as the man he believed he could never become. The boy's entire body collapses into sobs. The veteran lowers his head. I was prepared to be your father if he could not. And even Judge Judy has no words. No one speaks. Not the boy, not his parents, not even Judge Judy. The truth has hollowed the room. The courtroom stands frozen in a silence so thick it feels physical, like fog pressing against every face, every breath, every heartbeat. The teenager sits hunched over, shoulders shaking, hands covering his face. His sobs aren't loud. They're worse, quiet, broken, strangled by disbelief. The kind of sobs born from losing something you didn't know you had until the moment it's taken. His father approaches him cautiously, as though he's a fragile piece of glass that could shatter further with one wrong touch. Son, he whispers. But the boy flinches away. The father's face crumples. For the first time, The man who built his life on control looks powerless. The mother takes a trembling step forward, reaching for her son as if desperate to pull him back from the edge of a truth he never asked to fall into. "I'm so sorry," she whispers. "We should have told you." The boy shakes his head violently, unable to look at either of them. Judge Judy lets the moment breathe, her expression softer than the courtroom usually sees. She doesn't strike the gavel. She doesn't lecture. Instead, she murmurs, "Let him have this moment. He's processing more than most adults ever have to face." The veteran stands at the podium, hands clasped, eyes lowered. He seems smaller somehow, not because of shame, but because he never wanted his truth to wound the boy this deeply. "I never meant for him to hurt," the veteran says quietly. Judy turns to him with a surprising gentleness. Sometimes the truth hurts more when it's owed. The veteran nods, grief etched into every line of his face. "I kept my distance all these years because I didn't want to confuse him or threaten their family. I thought staying away was the right thing." The boy lifts his head, tears stream aching down his cheeks, his voice cracks. "Why didn't anyone tell me? Why didn't you?" The father collapses into the nearest chair, hands over his face. "Because I was ashamed," he admits. "I asked another man to be ready to raise my son. What father does that?" The veteran's eyes soften. A father who cared more about his child's future than his pride. Judy absorbs that line, the weight of it settling over the entire room. The mother kneels beside her son's chair. "He may not have raised you," she whispers, "but he helped bring you into the world. He loved you before he even knew your name." The boy looks at the veteran through blurred vision. Did you really pray for me?" The veteran nods slowly. "Every day, even when I didn't know who you'd become." A shattered sound escapes the boy's throat, half sob, half confession of guilt. "I hurt you," he whispers. "The first time I ever saw you, and I hurt you." The veteran's voice softens into something almost paternal. "And I forgave you the moment it happened." Judy clears her throat, her voice firm again. "This isn't finished," she says, eyes settling on the boy. "Now we deal with the consequences." Judge Judy rises from her bench. The scrape of her chair echoes like a verdict already forming. And the boy knows, before she even speaks, that something irreversible is coming. The courtroom shifts the moment she stands. The authority she carries is no longer procedural, it is personal. It fills the air like storm pressure, thick and electric. The boy stiffens, wiping the last of his tears with the back of his trembling hand. His parents hold their breath. Even the veteran looks uncertain, unsure whether to brace or intervene. "Mr. Parker," Judy says, stepping closer, "rise." The boy stands slowly, unsteady, as though the truth has taken half the strength from his legs. Judy doesn't look angry anymore. That's almost worse. She looks disappointed, heavy-hearted, like she is speaking to a child who forgot the value of his own humanity. "You attacked a man who protected your family," she says. "You degraded someone who carried your name before you did, and you did it with a level of arrogance I cannot ignore." The boy flinches, shame scorching through him. Judy continues, "Justice in this courtroom is not simply about decisions. It's about acknowledgement. It's about humility. It's about restoration." She steps beside the bench, eyes leveling with him. No elevation, no advantage. Just truth meeting truth. "You owe this man more than words. You owe him dignity, and today you will give it." The teen swallows hard. What do you mean?" Judy gestures toward the veteran. "Walk to him." The room holds its breath as the boy turns, feet dragging across the polished floor. The veteran stiffens, surprised, unsure whether to welcome him or shield himself. When the boy stops in front of him, Judy's voice drops. "Now," she says, "you will kneel." A ripple of shock runs through the gallery. The mother gasps softly. The father covers his mouth. Even the veteran's eyes widen. "Your Honor," he begins, but Judy holds up a hand. "This is not humiliation," she says. "It is humility. It is the first step toward being the man this family desperately needs you to become." The boy's knees buckle before she even finishes. He drops, not dramatically, not loudly, but painfully softly, the way people fall when the weight is emotional rather than physical. His hands tremble against the floor. His head bows so low his tears spatter the veteran's shoes. I'm sorry," he whispers, "for everything, for not knowing, for not caring, for hurting you when you're the reason I'm here at all." The veteran's breath catches. His hand shakes as he rests it on the boy's shoulder, a gesture filled with more forgiveness than the boy feels he deserves. But Judy isn't done. "Lift your head," she says. The boy obeys, eyes red, face streaked with tears. "Now look at the man you hurt," she orders quietly, "and ask him if he wants to hear your apology." The boy turns his tear-filled eyes upward. "Do you want to hear it?" he whispers. And the veteran's answer will decide everything. The veteran hesitates, not because he doubts the boy, but because he knows the moment he says, "Yes," the boy's world will never be the same. For a long, suspended heartbeat, the veteran doesn't answer. His lips part, then close again, as though he's weighing not just the words, but the consequences of allowing them. Finally, he exhales shakily, the sound almost a sigh. "Yes," he says, "I want to hear it." The boy's shoulders sag with both relief and terror. He wipes his face with trembling fingers, rises slightly from his kneel just enough to meet the veteran's eyes but not enough to reclaim pride. His voice is thin, cracked, breaking in all the places arrogance once held him together. "I'm sorry," he whispers, "not just for hitting you or insulting you, but for every second I spent thinking I was better than you. For every moment I forgot I had a life some people fought for. For every time I acted like the world owed me something when I didn't deserve anything." The veteran's throat tightens, eyes glistening. "I didn't know who you were," the boy stammers. "I didn't know what you did. I didn't know you were there before I even opened my eyes in this world." His voice fractures completely. "I didn't know you were family in a way I never understood." The gallery sits in stunned silence, every word sinking deep. "I hurt you," the boy continues, tears falling freely. "And I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the disrespect, the anger, the ignorance. I'm sorry for every ounce of pain I brought you. You didn't deserve any of it. You deserved honor, respect, gratitude, and I gave you none of that." The veteran blinks hard, jaw trembling. "Son," he murmurs, not claiming the word but acknowledging its weight, "pain doesn't erase love, and love doesn't always wear the face you expect." The boy sobs openly. Judy allows the moment to breathe, her gaze softer than the courtroom lights. She recognizes the fragile alchemy at work here, guilt turning into accountability, shame melting into recognition. The boy reaches out slowly, placing his hand over the veteran's. "I want to be better," he whispers. "For you, for my parents, for myself. I want to earn the life you protected before I even had a name." The veteran's breath catches. He squeezes the boy's hand, not tightly but with a presence that says, "I see you. I forgive you. I never stopped hoping for you." The mother breaks down anew. The father bows his head. The entire room feels something shift, a tectonic emotional movement, tectonic but tender. Judy finally steps forward. "This," she says softly, "is what accountability looks like. Not punishment, not humiliation, truth met with humility." She glances toward the veteran. "You said there was one more thing he needed to know." The boy freezes, eyes widening. The veteran nods slowly, reaching into his coat once more. "I kept something," he says, "for 18 years. And it's time you saw it." Before the final verdict, ask yourself, can a person truly change, or do they simply learn who they were meant to be all along? The veteran unfolds the final item. Not a letter, not a document, something far more intimate. something that still smells faintly of hospital linen and time. He holds it carefully as if it could crumble at the edges. A tiny knitted cap, blue, faded, the kind hospitals give to newborns. The courtroom gasps softly. The boy's eyes widen, filling instantly, as though he recognizes it from pictures he's seen buried deep in family albums. "This," the veteran says, voice thick, "was yours. They placed it on your head when I held you. Your mother asked me to keep it until it felt right to return it." The boy reaches out slowly, hands trembling, and the veteran gently places the cap into his palms. The weight of it, light as a whisper, heavy as a lifetime, breaks him completely. He presses it to his chest, eyes squeezing shut. "How," he whispers, "can I ever repay you?" The veteran smiles, not proudly but gently. "By living a life worthy of the one your parents fought for, the one I prayed for. You don't owe me anything but that." The boy nods, swallowing hard. Judge Judy steps forward, her voice calm, anchored, resolute. "Mr. Parker," she says, addressing the teenager, "you cannot change the past, but you can transform the future. And you will." He lifts his tear-stained face. "Yes, Your Honor." "For your actions," she continues, "you will pay restitution to this man for damages. You will perform community service with a veterans outreach program, and you will attend counseling. Not as punishment," she leans in slightly, "but as a corrective measure, so that you never again forget the humanity in another person." The boy nods, overwhelmed but grateful. His parents step beside him, his mother holding his hand, his father resting a trembling palm on his shoulder. They stand not as a fractured unit, but as a family finally stripped of secrets. Judy's gaze softens as she turns to the veteran. "And you, sir, thank you for your service, for your sacrifice, and for carrying a truth that was never yours alone to bear." The veteran bows his head. "Thank you, Judge." The boy stands, cap still held tightly, and turns to the veteran. "Can I see you again?" he asks, voice small but sincere. The veteran studies him for a long moment, searching, weighing, deciding. "Yes," he says finally, "I'd like that." A fragile smile breaks across the boy's face, the first honest smile he's shown all day. The courtroom exhales. Judy lifts her gavel not with force but with a reflective calm. "This matter," she says, "is resolved." The gavel strikes, soft, final, almost tender. The family turns toward the veteran toward the boy, and in that silent exchange something unspoken passes between them, a thread of recognition, humility, gratitude. A new beginning. Arrogance collapses under truth. Humility rebuilds what truth reveals. And sometimes justice isn't punishment. It's learning who you were always meant to be.